Welcome to my video on matrix multiplication. This is the third video in the series on matrix math. And what I want to talk about in this video is the product of two matrices. So A multiplied by B is equal to C, and has to be in that order because matrix multiplication is not commutative. In other words, A times B does not equal B times A. So in our definition here of matrix multiplication, A is going to be an M by N matrix, meaning it has M rows and N columns. And it's going to be multiplied times a matrix B, which has R rows and P columns. Those are just placeholders. Is defined if and only if R is equal to N. So all matrix multiplication is not defined. Oh, it has to be the requirement, this right here, when the number of rows of the second matrix is equal to the number of columns of the first. So that's the requirement. So you can at least get an answer out. And then the result is this matrix C, and it has M rows and P columns. So this is our equation. It's a summation. That's the summation sign, 1 to n. The result of the multiplication C is this product right here of each of the individual parts, where L is an index, and then this J and K are the locations of the entries, and it's just this sum. Now it looks rather daunting, but we're going to go over an example and make it a little easier, so don't give up yet. It's going to get better, hopefully. Now this requirement that R is equal to N, that implies that the number of columns in matrix number 1, or the A matrix, must be equal to the number of rows in the B matrix. So that's what that requirement tells us. So if we write A, and A, they told us is going to be an M by N, M rows, N columns, times B, which is going to have R rows times P columns. That's equal to C, which is going to have M times P. So what this tells us is this requirement that R is equal to N. That must be the same for this to be defined. And then the final result is M times P. And I'm going to do an example next, just to kind of clarify this. And there'll be some other videos with examples that you can follow along and hopefully start making more sense of this. Let's look at the example. A is equal to 1, 3, 2, 1, minus 1, 4. B is equal to minus 2, 4, 2, 5, minus 3, 1. Okay, this first matrix is a 2 by 3. It's got 2 rows and 3 columns. The second one has got 3 rows and 2 columns. So we just said that these two numbers right here must be the same, and they are. So this matrix multiplication is going to be defined, and we're going to get out a by 2 matrix. So C, we don't know what that is yet, but we do know it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix from the basic statement of the two matrices that we've got there. So let's do this. A times B. Now, that long summation turns out to be a little more simply than that. We can reduce it down to it's this row times this column is going to be our first entry. So it's going to be adding and multiplying. So the first element is 1 times minus 2 plus 2 times 4 plus minus 1 times 2. So that's our first entry. Now our second entry is going to be that first row times the second column. So let's calculate that up. So it's 1 times 5 plus 2 times minus 3 plus minus 1 times 1. That's our second entry. Now the third entry, we're going to go down to the second row and start this process over again. This time it's going to be with the first column. The same process. So we've got 3 times minus 2 plus 1 times 4 plus 4 times 2. Then the fourth and final entry in this is going to be this row times this column now. So we just do them in a systematic multiplication, and that is equivalent to that summation we saw earlier. So that's going to be 3 times 5 plus 1 times minus 3 plus 4 times 1. Now if we do the math on this, we can, so right here we got minus 2, 8, and minus 2 again. So that's just going to be equal to 4. The second one, that's a 5, minus 6, minus 1. That is a minus 2. And then we've got a minus 6, 4, 8. That's a 6. Now we've got 15 minus 3 plus 4, 16. So that is the result of our matrix multiplication. We took this 3 by 2, multiplied it by a 2 by 3 matrix, multiplied by a 3 by 2 matrix. The 3's are equal, so we could do it as defined. And then the outside numbers gave us the final result, the dimension of the result, which is this right here. Well, I hope you got a little something out of this video and learned something about matrix multiplication. Keep looking at my channel. I'm going to have more examples on this. I know this is at first a bit confusing, but stick with it. And it's very systematic. You just got to do it slowly and think about what you're doing. I hope you got something out of it. Like, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.